Um, January 5, 2024. It's 1 o'clock. And we are recording right here live with John Flynn. And we're looking at the website California News on the Street. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Columbia, California News on the Street. So let me record this as we're doing it. I am doing that, I believe. Yes, it is recording. Hide that. Okay, what we're looking at, John, you're here, right? You're a live person?
Yes.
Okay, so I posted onto this 1 hour ago. Okay. And I posted my Facebook post, Tuolumne County Supervisor Jaron Brandon and Ryan Campbell throwing down satanic hand signs. Okay. And who posted, this says right here, I don't know if you can read that. It says Jaron Brandon, cut down on the caffeine, Ty. Okay, so he posted right there, and it should say the time. It does say the time somewhere. Uh, 25 minutes ago. There it is right there. Okay, so Friday, January 5, 2024 at 11:21 a.m. And then I responded, rock stars making the next videos since they are going viral for Tuolumne County. Your followers make me do it. And I go on to make quite a few comments, but I'm just going to go ahead and let you read them, or I might re-record this and step through each one. But John, you're verifying this
Correct.
exists, right?
It does exist.
I asked Jaron Brandon to prove that, that I do talk about the surety bonds, criminal insurance. Okay, so I'm confronting him if he has his surety bonds. The open meeting law, confront him on that. There's some other things. So this post right here, so I'm trying to post this, right? Watch. Post has been removed.
Yes,
the
it
post
has.
or object you are commenting on has been removed by the user. So let's try this again. And click OK. Whoa, it's gone. Post has been removed. The whole thing is removed, right? Entirely removed. If I refresh, reload the site, post has been removed. Whoa. I've been kicked out of the group. Okay, so that'd be a open meeting violation. You saw it all there, folks, all recorded.
To discuss amongst themselves official business, or respond directly to any communication on social media regarding a matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body that is made, posted, or shared by another member of the legislative body. Remember, I talked about communications that would be okay, right? Between less than a quorum, right? You can communicate. Risky if you communicate up to the level of the quorum, but you can communicate less than a quorum on that. This goes further and says a single contact between one public official and another normally would not constitute a serial meeting. The AB 992 prohibitions go further. You cannot communicate using social media in that matter, between the two of you. So an example of what's prohibited is even as something as a comment or an emoji in response to another public official's Facebook post, you're not supposed to do that, assuming you both serve on the same legislative body. So definitely, for anybody who's on legislative bodies here making decisions, be aware of AB 992. So, an example, little practice tip of a good post, versus a bad post. A good post. in terms of using social media. It could be something like, hey, City Council is going to consider Silicon Valley Power rate adjustments at our January 9th meeting. Please come and share your views, right? That's communicating with the public. You're letting them know a decision's going to be made. You're giving them a heads up, right, about when they should attend. A not so good one would be someone who says, hey, Gold Digger LLC proposal to dam Stevens Creek and build a panning for gold theme park is absurd and violates environmental laws. Please join me in the council majority in opposing their project application at our January 9th meeting. There's a whole lot wrong with this communication, right? If there's a permit that you're supposed to be deciding on, it's a terrible idea, right? But if it's a permit that you're being decided on, you're basically telling people you already made your decision on that. And we'll talk about this later. If it's quasi-judicial hearing, that's a very serious problem. You're also saying, please join me in the council majority. You're basically declaring that council majority has interacted or decided something and that you could have been a part of. Terrible, terrible communication. The first one's great. Second one's not good. So there's also limits in social media on internet-based platforms. In effect, if you create a platform that's open and accessible to the public, you have to let people participate in that, right? If you're using that as a way of you communicating about city business. You don't get to approve or disapprove, people. You cannot block them from participating unless they're otherwise violating, the terms of service. It applies to comments, retweets, dislikes, smiley faces, sad faces, screenshots, reposting, all these other different apps. I probably list now. TikTok's on there. That's somewhat modern. So be aware of that. If you're using social media in that way, don't be careful about blocking people. There's also an overall, that's the under 992. There's also First Amendment concepts that also, in effect, say the same thing, right? If you're blocking people from communicating with you regarding city business, and you're otherwise using your public platform to inform constituents about information related to the jurisdiction, that social media page is in effect related to your official duties, and you need to be aware of First Amendment restrictions on your ability to block participation. There's some nuances to it, but there's a small audience for that, so I'm going to keep going. So, the end of the Brown Act, I think. Are we at the end of the Brown Act? Yes. Violations and consequences. There's some serious repercussions, appropriately so, for folks who conduct the public's business out of the public's view. There's civil remedies that can be brought by any interested person, actually, or by the district attorney. It can result in the invalidation of the action, that was taken. It could void past acts. You can get injunctive or declaratory relief to prevent future violations. There's procedural requirements that allow you to handle things in a certain way with notice and an opportunity to correct. But if you fight it as a public agency and you lose, your plaintiff also gets attorney's fees, even if you just lose a little bit. So not to be taken lightly, and there's serious remedies that can occur. More serious still, of course, is a member who's responsible for violating the Brown Act may be subject to a misdemeanor, a criminal penalty even, if there's a specific intent to deprive the public of information. Usually this is an intent crime. A criminal aspect of this is very, very rare, but it's possible. But I think the last one is really the most important one, right? And we've been talking about this since the beginning about this with ethics training is the worst part about this is the loss of public trust, right? We rely on public support, public input, public volunteers, on boards and commissions in order to inform us about, in my case, information that helps me advise the council in decision maker or other boards and commissions, and the other boards and commissions instance, getting information and having a relationship with the public so that you can use that in order to make the best possible decision. When you lose the public trust by not inviting them in and in violating that, it's really going to be hard to get city business done. So the consequences for me are the first couple, but the third one I think we'd all agree is probably the most significant. So Brown Act practice tips.
Right. Jaron Brandon, you got that?
But yeah, I got that. But
Jaron Brandon.
but
He's
he
I'm
also
recording this
talked
for him.
about their deleting, hiding. He says that's very rare, but that just took place in the month of December. They're deleting me. They're deleting you. Your afternoon on December 5th is gone. You when we were sitting here, so how'd you think? How was that? Was great, but where are you on December 5th in the afternoon?
Yeah, well, that's absolute proof positive. Your audio is clearly edited, and then the frames that were edited out when you were in the middle of a sentence, including the court case CV 64848, and it's you say CV6 and it's cut out, and you're referring to Judge Kevin Siebert as she.
I didn't say shit.
Well, I know because it's cut out.
Yeah,
you were talking about Judge Laura Craig, obviously,
right.
and then the stuff I was talking about, and we're going in and recording everything now, so we can go back and prove frame by frame what's going on there. But we already have frame by frame edited audio, video for sure. It's
Right.
already caught on camera, and then this is the most recent episode today. Just everything that they do, they make a mistake. And today, Jaron Brandon deleted his postings, which is a violation of the open meeting law. So we're going to go ahead and post this up on the internet now.
Maybe we should file it. You should file a complaint with the county DA and I want to pursue this.
Well, we are. We're doing a criminal complaint already
Okay.
against the other ones with the Attorney General.
Okay.
Because nobody in Tuolumne County is doing anything, and Bill Pooley just retired. Everything's scandalous here. It's all one big cover.
Yeah, and he's got, and you've been mentioning over and over. I'm sure they've been talking about the child trafficking and pedophiling going out the court. Pooley hasn't done it. Did you notify him in